Tuesday, February the 18th, 2025 at 7 PM. Melissa, could you do the roll call, please?
Keller.
Here.
Hedges.
Yes.
Tice.
Here.
Blitzka.
Here.
Hallinan.
Absent.
Moats.
Here.
Lukasak. Here. Duval.
Absent. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father, who art
Art
in
in
heaven,
heaven,
hallowed
Be
be
thy name.
thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Council, you should have received a copy of the City Council meeting minutes from February the 4th, 2025. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
So moved by Sherry Tice, seconded by John Moats. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Reports from council members or committee reports. City council members, do any of you have a report? John Moats.
Yes. So a couple of things I wanted to follow up with you guys on that I've had the opportunity to do. First of all, got to do some ride-alongs with the fire department and the police department, and I enjoyed both of those. I was like a kid in a fire truck and a police car again. So that was pretty fun. Really enjoyed that. Great time with those. It was just good to see the what they deal with on a regular basis. So I enjoyed that. And then secondly, I met with Circleville City Schools. I put a postcard on there on each of your desks. They did invite us. They said they haven't had attendance from City Council in the past. So, but they're doing the state of the schools on March 5th. So you have that postcard with the date and time on that as well. And the Education Foundation dinner and auction is this weekend. Is that correct?
Saturday at 5 o'clock. Tickets still available.
There you go. Thank you, John.
Mhm.
I
Audrey?
have a question. As I continue to learn what
Sure.
this means to be part of the council, today I had the opportunity to go to the Housing Security Alliance here in town over at the Community Methodist Church. I am so impressed with the many different organizations that group
Mhm.
brings together and to hear, and I'm not sure how many council people and people in the community have come to their monthly meetings. It's the third Tuesday of each month from 1 to 2:30. But to be reminded of this set of population that we heard updates about Hope House along with hearing, from the women's shelter. But last week at Community Kitchens, they served over 195
Mhm.
people. That has increased a lot over the last year. So my question is there, of one of the committees that we represent, does the Housing Security Alliance, fall under that? Or
They do not, but they're always welcome to come to City Council and speak at the podium.
I've encouraged them to
Yeah,
do so.
We would welcome updates, or if they have a public information announcement they would like to make, they're always welcome at the first and third Tuesdays.
Okay, I appreciate that, because I do remember before I came and we had, someone from when Hope House, was opened up and concerned about the community, and to recognize that the 11 people who stay at Hope House, a number of them do have jobs. They just can't afford
Sure.
a place to rent and so the stories of the people. But again, we need to broaden our understanding of who falls in the categories. Many of the, we know that there's the shelter at Hope House that house 11, but we heard of the women's shelter, but a number are staying in hotels. And so let's maybe in all of our actions, be reminded
Sure.
of that population. So
Very
thank you.
good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Anyone over here? Sherry Tice, Strategic Planning Chair.
Thank you, President Keller. I'd like to announce that we are going to have a strategic planning meeting on March 4th at 6:45 before our council meeting. We do have an ordinance about the NatureWorks grant that the city would like to apply for, and a resolution that Pumpkin Show would like to use the city parking lot for their craft vendors. So
Okay. So March 4th.
March 4th at 6:45.
Okay. Just a second. I want to make sure that we don't have something planned for that. No, it's after executive session. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Katie, Finance Committee Chair.
Thank you, President Keller. We had a finance meeting on January 28th that we have 6 pieces of legislation that are on the agenda for this evening for the second reading, which I will speak to when we get to that. We had another finance meeting on February 4th. From that, we have 1 piece of legislation that's on the agenda, which I will speak to. And then we had another finance meeting before this meeting this evening at 6:30. And we do have 3 pieces of legislation from that meeting, all of those forwarded on to council for March 4th.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Tom Quitzko, Judicial Committee.
Yes, sir. We do have one ordinance to discuss at this time regarding amending the zoning district itself, and we'll ask our city planner, Ms. Hannah Wynn, to also come up at that time frame and give us her impression.
Okay, very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Reports from our city officials that are here tonight. We have Mayor Michelle Blanton.
Thank you, President Keller, members of council. I have 2 quick public service announcements. One comes from the Department of Public Safety, and that is that there will be a traffic pattern change on Edgewood north of Northridge. So this is going back into the Sycamore Lane, Victor Drive, or Sycamore Drive, Victor Drive area. The intersection at Sycamore and Edgewood will become a 4-way stop. We are putting in stop signs going north and south on Edgewood. We've had some accidents at that intersection. We're trying to put actually some extra buffers in on the traffic that is traveling east and west in between the 2 housing developments. So that will be new. This week, you'll see the traffic signs on the street. Next week, those stop signs will be put in place. So just as an awareness for people who are living in that area or travel through that area, there will be a traffic pattern change in those neighborhoods. We have also, if you're not aware, in that area, have put up extra speed limit signs along Sycamore Drive. We had some reports of people speeding through that area now that the road is going all the way through. So we've put in some new signs where new traffic is funneling through. They wouldn't have necessarily seen a traffic or a speed limit sign. So we put in some extra ones there. As those houses on Atwater or Georgia and Sycamore and Victor are built out, you'll see cars on both sides of the roads. And so we're trying to put in those signs now so that people know where they are along that stretch in that new development. The second public service announcement comes from the Department of Service. It is specifically for our lift stations throughout the city. We've had some lift stations that have been backed up because of materials that have been placed in toilets, such as disposable wipes, non-disposable wipes, clothing, fabric, those kinds of things. When those things happen, it backs up the system in that entire area, which then backs it up into people's basements. And we don't want that to happen. So just as a reminder to everyone throughout the city, remind people, I know that they say that they're flushable, but they really do create problems for our wastewater treatment plant and for our water and sewer staff. So please, as much as you can, please don't flush wipes, disposable wipes, and please don't flush clothing down your toilet. So those are 2 public service announcements. A reminder to everyone, we do have a city newsletter. We are going to be working on the March issue of that. If you're not currently subscribed, please contact the mayor's office or the service department and talk to our city planner about getting an email version of that being sent to you. It really does have a wide array of information across the city that can be communicated to the citizens. Other than that, we are meeting regularly with developers, with people who are trying to come into the city for businesses, with P3 and economic development. We are also starting a series, the mayor's office is starting a series of Pizza with the Mayor, where we're going to every department within the city. I'm personally treating every department with lunch. And so it's just a time for us to create community within the city.
Very good. Council, does anybody have a question for the mayor while she's here this evening? No? All right, thank you. This is the portion of the meeting where the public can address city council. Anyone's welcome to come to the podium. You have up to 5 minutes to speak. Does anybody like to come to the podium? Mr. Horning, if you would give us your name and your address, please.
Yes, my name is Dave Horning. I live at 569 Plaza Drive. I'd like to talk about the Cortona Theater that's here in Circleville, Ohio. This is the year where we can apply for projects with the Ohio Capital Budget Fund. Talking to some people, it looks around January 2025 is like the deadline, but it'd be good to have something in like November 1st for any kind of capital project. I know that already we've talked about, trying to get grants for parks and stuff, but the Cortona Theater would be in a separate category of, cultural arts and theater funding. And there might be a lot of funds available. There might be little, I don't know, but it seems like we've just sat here for a couple of years and just watched the Cortona Theater just waste away. I know that in my recent interview with homeless people, a homeless couple in Circleville, they told me the homeless will seek any kind of vacant building there is to spend the night at. So it wouldn't be surprised to me on a cold night like tonight that there are homeless people in there. I don't have any proof of that. I've tried to reach out to the owner and I've not gotten any response. So I just think that my observation is this city, and we're just all watching this theater just go to waste. And I think that I would encourage, I've talked to Michelle about this, and I know that's been busy. She's been busy, but now is the time. The timing is now with the capital budget being this year. I think we have to take an aggressive approach with this property. I do respect property rights and the person's right to own the property, but really does a person have the right to see property waste away and become a hazard, a health hazard, the mold problem, the homeless attraction? I don't know what's being done on this, but I would encourage the city council and the mayor to, and I think that the citizens need to step up and help in this. I don't mean to just dump this all, but there probably need to be funding to write up a grant, to get engineering studies as a part of a grant proposal. You have to do a lot of work, and I think there might be citizens willing to contribute to the money to that project. I don't mean to dump this all on the city, but it's an asset that I would think that the city would try to preserve, and I think this might be our last best chance to do that.
And this is the theater on Pinckney Street.
Pinckney, yeah.
Pinckney
Pinckney,
Street.
yeah. Cortona
Okay.
Theater, yeah.
I had not heard it called that before.
Well,
Cliftona.
Cliftona.
There you go. Okay.
I stand correct.
That's why I was wondering, where are you talking about? Okay, but okay. Yeah, and it's my understanding the property owner may be selling that building. So I don't know what we can make the property owner do or not do as far as imposing on them grant monies or monies from the state budget.
I think you're going to have a rose and a fisted glove approach with this. I mean, if eminent domain is what it's going to take to force somebody to do something, I'd like to see the city take action very strongly against a property owner that is just, in my opinion, my observation, just allowing this property just to deteriorate. And that to me is unconscionable.
Mr. Horning did talk to me about this before. I do have the contact information that he so kindly provided to me. I also informed him that I'll work with our city planner to look at our codes and also the law director to find out what potentially the city could do from our ordinance perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Horning.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Please give us your name and your address.
It's William Haddix from 531 East Union. Just a quick comment. I've got a police scanner at home I listen to quite a bit. And this time of year, when it's really cold, I hear a lot of calls go out, fire department, and then you find out later on that electric heaters are a big cause of a lot of fires this time of year. And what I was wondering was, because I've talked to a lot of different people, and they buy those heaters, maybe at Goodwill or get it gave to them from a family member, a friend, so they're not necessarily brand new. So I didn't know, it's definitely too late to do anything this winter. But for next winter, if there could be some kind of, maybe tie it in with another event that's going on around town or something, to where people can bring a heater that they have and have somebody either from the fire department or the city that's qualified to test those and find out, is this one actually safe to use? Because it's not always the owner's fault of, not keeping things away from it or, just being unsafe. It's just an unsafe device, period. And a lot of times I've used them myself and had issues that luckily weren't catastrophic, but there's no warning. They just overheat and cause fire or whatever. Most of the time, they don't really have any fuses or any safety mechanisms. They will for if they tip over a lot of times, but outside of that, there's nothing. So I thought maybe, I don't know, I know PICA does events during the certain times a year, or if the city's got something else going on, kind of maybe tie it in with that. Or, if that's not, feasible, figure out what department is, capable of testing them, and then just set maybe a certain time of the day, one day a week or something, where the public could just on their own just stop in and say, can you check this for me real quick, and go from there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anyone else? With 2 absent tonight, City Council needs 6 affirmative votes to suspend the rules, so we won't be able to do that. So all pieces of legislation will be held for a 3rd reading, and that 3rd reading will be on March the 4th. Yeah, March the 4th. So Melissa, go right ahead.
An ordinance amending chapter 123.01 of the codified ordinances of the city of Circleville, establishing the position of clerk of council and declaring an emergency.
Council, for the reading of this ordinance from the Finance Committee. Katie?
Thank you, President Keller. This is the second time that we have read this. It is cleaning up the codified ordinance, establishing the position of clerk of council, which was not previously in it. Obviously, this is a position that's held currently, so this is just amending that ordinance.
Anyone else?
Motion to hold for a 3rd reading.
Motion to hold this ordinance for 3rd reading, seconded by Sherry Tice. Roll call, please, on the motion to hold this ordinance for 3rd reading.
Hedges.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Pliska.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Lukasak.
Yes.
Ordinance will be read on March the 4th.
An ordinance amending chapter 123.01 of the codified ordinances of the city of Circleville, establishing the position of assistant clerk of council and declaring an emergency.
Council, you've heard the 2nd reading of this ordinance again from the Finance Committee.
Thank you, President Keller. So similar to the first, this is cleaning up the codified ordinance, establishing the position of assistant clerk. This is a position that is currently not filled with council, and addressed that ordinance.
Okay. Anyone else?
I make a motion to hold for a 3rd reading.
Motion to hold this ordinance for 3rd reading, seconded by Audrey Lukasak. Roll call, please, on the motion to hold this for 3rd reading.
Hedges.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Pliska.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Lukasak.
Yes.
Resolution approving the application to add certain parcels of real property to the Circleville New Community Authority District and to amend the petition for establishment of the Circleville New Community Authority as a new community authority under Chapter 349 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency.
Council, you've heard the 2nd reading of this resolution from the Finance Committee.
Thank you, President Keller. So C, D, and E are very similar. The only difference being the 3 different properties that it references bringing into the NCA. So this one specifically is for the D.R. Horton development. It did come out of our committee with a recommendation for passage.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
Motion to hold it for a 3rd reading.
Motion to hold this the resolution for a 3rd reading is by Sherry Tice, seconded by Tom Klitschko. Roll call, please, on the motion to hold it for 3rd reading.
Hedges.
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Pliska.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Lukasak.
Yes.
Resolution approving the application to add certain parcels of real property to the Circleville New Community Authority District and to amend the petition for establishment of the Circleville New Community Authority as a new community authority under Chapter 349 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency.
Again, this is the second reading of the resolution from the Finance Committee. Katie?
Thank you, President Keller. So this one is for the Heritage Ponds development for the NCA and came with a recommendation for passage.
I'd like to make a motion that we hold this for a third reading, please.
Motion by Tom Klitzka to hold it for a third reading, seconded by Sherry Tice. Roll call, please, on the motion to hold it for a third reading.
Hedges,
Yes.
Tice,
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Lukasak.
Yes.
It will be held for a third reading.
Resolution approving the application to add certain parcels of real property to the Circleville New Community Authority District and to amend the petition for establishment of the Circleville New Community Authority as a new community authority under Chapter 349 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency.
Again, this second reading of this resolution for the NCA. Katie?
Thank you, President Keller. This is for the South Court Street property.
Make a motion to hold for a third reading.
Motion to hold this for a third reading by John Moats, seconded by Tom Klitzka. Roll call, please.
Hedges,
Yes.
Tice,
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Lukasak.
Yes.
In ordinance amending the annual appropriation ordinance in the capital improvement 0.4% income tax fund, 206 safety forces 0.5% tax fund, 212 safety forces 0.5% tax fund, 227 waterworks operating fund, 808 waterworks improvement and extension fund 819, and sanitary sewer operating fund 909 of the city of Circleville.
Council, you've heard the second reading of this ordinance from the Finance Committee.
Thank you, President Keller. This was a housekeeping ordinance that came through with several different appropriations that were needed that also came through with a recommendation for passage.
Is there a motion?
Motion to hold for a third reading.
Motion to hold for a third reading by Katie Hedges, seconded by Tom Klitzka. Roll call, please, on the motion to hold for a third reading.
Hedges,
Yes.
Tice,
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Lukasak.
Yes.
An ordinance to amend the zoning district of Zero Outwater Avenue, parcel A05-1-150-00-001-88 and A05-1-115-00-001-89, Zero Morris Road, parcel number A05-1-115-00-001-90 and A05-1-115-00-001-00 from NB Neighborhood Business District, MUR Multi-Unit District, and MDR Medium Density Residential District to PUD Planned Unit Development.
Council, you've heard the second reading of this ordinance from the Judicial Committee. Tom?
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is an ordinance to amend the zoning only. We'll have additional ordinances when it comes to the actual development itself. But I'm going to ask Ms. Hannah Wynn, our city planner, to just say a few words, if you would, please.
Yeah, so this is for the Alto PUD, where Melissa referenced it. This is the second reading and the fifth time that's been brought up in a public meeting. So this is for the apartments and single family up off Atwater. This is just to rezone the property. It will come back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for final development approval, and then it will have to go through the platting process. So a couple more steps after this one. And really nothing has changed since the first reading, so.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you, Hannah.
Okay. Is there a
I'd
motion?
like to make a motion that we hold this for a third reading, please.
Motion by Tom Klitzka to hold this ordinance for a third reading, seconded by Sherry Tice. Roll call, please, on the motion to hold this for a third reading.
Hedges,
Yes.
Tice,
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Lukasak.
Yes.
An ordinance to authorize and implement the labor wage reopener agreement between the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association and the city of Circleville and declaring an emergency.
Council, you've heard the first reading of this ordinance from the Finance Committee. Katie?
Thank you, President Keller. So this was discussed in our last finance meeting. It is the wage reopener for $1 effective January 1st of 2025 for the OPB labor wage agreement.
Is there any other comments or questions?
3%.
Yes. It has a, where are we here? Yep, section 3, an $1 per hour increase as originally agreed upon in the fact-finding negotiations, as well as an additional 3% increase.
All right. Other comments? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to hold for a second reading.
Motion to hold this ordinance for a second reading, seconded by Sherry Tice. Roll call, please, to hold this ordinance for a second reading.
Hedges,
Yes.
Tice,
Yes.
Blitzka.
Yes.
Moats.
Yes.
Lukasak.
Yes.
Thank you, Melissa. Council, that's all the business we had before city council tonight. Got a couple people absent. Could we?
Make a motion to excuse Tom Duval from the meeting.
Motion by Sherry Tice to excuse Tom Duval, seconded by Tom Klitzka. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Mr. Howland, please.
Motion to excuse Jeff Hallinan, seconded by Katie Hedges. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Those two council members are excused. Anyone else?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Katie Hedges, seconded by John Moats.
Not
All
here.
those in favor say aye.
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 City council meetings adjourned at 7:26 PM. Thank you.